Radio Lomax, l'émission du 106.
Le tournant des années 90 et 2000 aura ouvert la voie à une cohorte de formations aux sensibilités les plus diverses, renouant sous le terme fourre-tout de post-rock, avec la notion de narration par les nuances dynamiques. This Will Destroy You fait partie de celle-ci depuis 2004, célébrant aujourd'hui sur cette tournée leur début discographique. Dans leur plage instrumentale chapitrée, comme autant de romans d'aventure, on trouve matière à voyager, s'extasier et parfois, qui sait, détruire une part de soi-même. C'est la réponse maintenant.
Radio Lomax, l'émission du 106.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I was, air.
Oh yeah, nah.
Because of the term post-rock, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that play it aren't a fan of it. I don't mind it as much. It's been a community that's embraced us a lot. So, why hate?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're to play mainly your early material on this tour. What's your outlook on that? How do you look at those pieces in retrospect?
So I think, playing it live now, there's a bit of nostalgia, but there's also a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a naivete that you think about when you look back at your older work. I think any musician or person in the band might agree that they're not typically the proudest of their early, it's always their newest thing they want you to hear. But what like Young Mountain and Self-Titled did for the band really established us and made it possible for this to be, like a real career option for everyone involved. So, I have a lot of respect for it.
Okay. What inspired you in that time to write this material? What was it something you found in everyday life? What was it?
Yeah, I wish I knew how to answer that. I think after Young Mountain happened and it ended up working, we kind of created this formula within to construct a lot of the songs and kind of stuck within those walls for those two albums. But yeah, to say that anything specific was in mind while going on for those, I think we're still just figuring it out. We're a young band at the time, just going through the motions, really.
Okay, yeah. So nothing really changed in the perspective.
Yeah, not that early on.
Yeah.
No, it was just doing the second album was like, can we make another good album that people will like? That was the biggest worry. So, a lot of focus was just how can we expand on what we did for our first album.
Okay, I don't know if you will agree with me with this one, but I think we are at war with time.
Yeah, sure.
Mainly in music.
Yeah.
I see, like 70s prog rock as a reaction to 60s bubblegum short span music, the immediacy of it. Were you do you think the band and many others spawning from the same era had a revenge to take from that kind of short attention span music too?
I've felt that more recently over maybe the past 5 to 10 years than in the beginning. With music streaming and just how much the internet has changed everything over the last 20 years, it just everyone has a platform now, and so many genres and subgenres of music are oversaturated, and a lot of them sound alike, and it's hard to tell one from the other. And but a lot of people find success, and there's those that stick out and have success in the industry. And there's also people that absolutely suck at what they're doing, and they stand out and they make a ton of money. You know, it's become this weird situation where you have very talented people that will never see the light of day in the industry, and you have very untalented people go on to make millions and millions, and it's just kind of a luck of a draw. And in the culture we live in, like what kind of pops at the moment, what's maybe getting licensed at the right time to the right thing. Like, it can be one of many things, but there's so much more competition now than there was back when we first started, for sure.
Okay. I see. Full cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I see your music, the music that you defend, as like a reconquest of time as a space of expression.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourselves as storytellers most?
In a sense, yeah. We like to think that our music allows the listener to have the song or the album tell whatever story it speaks to them while they're hearing it or while they're experiencing it. We, outside of maybe Tunnel Blanket, we really didn't try to shove any sort of message or experience down anyone's throats. Just kind of let people experience it as is and interpret it whatever way they wish to.
Okay. Let's talk about Texas.
Okay.
Which I know a bit because, I had an aunt living in Galveston. I went to Dallas when I was in high school, which you can tell because of my shitty English. But, but I've seen many faces of Texas. It's a state of many faces.
That it is. Yeah.
You're from San Marcos, if I'm right?
Well, sort of. Or the band originated in San Antonio. We were all from San Antonio originally. When the band started, half of us were in San Marcos, half of us were in San Antonio, and I think whoever it was that started our MySpace page or mp3.com page, whatever it was, put San Marcos as our hometown. But all the original members have lived in San Marcos at some point, and Austin really became kind of our home base over the years.
So that's your Texas.
Yeah. I would consider my Texas to be much more Austin, and of course San Antonio I was born and raised, but in my adult life, Austin was a much bigger part of my life.
What's typical from Austin?
It's just it's kind of unique to the area. It's a very liberal city. It's very music focused. Not so much now as it used to be. It's becoming more of a tech town. But there's a lot of art and a lot of music there. And if you're going to be somewhere in the Midwest, especially in Texas, it's kind of the place to be to not feel like you're stuck in some hell of a red state. Yeah.
Yeah. The stylistic and political range of Texas is, to me, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because how can you have at the same time like butthole surfers, million dead cops at the drive-in, bands like that, like, wow. Stickmen with ray guns, if you if you happen to see them, but I didn't. But and at the same time, live to experience.
Yeah,
that's beyond me.
Yeah,
how is it possible?
I don't know. Texas is it's this weirdly magical place. It can be very, even though it's very plain and flat and kind of boring, there's this sort of weird mysticism to the environment there that can be really inspiring, I think, for music. And when you find like your people there, when you find like the group of people that makes sense to you as friends, and you know, people who you'll call family in the future and what have you, there's just something about being there and connecting, especially when you're kind of against the fold of what's kind of the norm in Texas, that I think adds to the experience of living there. And I think a lot of bands that take inspiration from the environment there, I mean, there is like a beauty to the vastness that Texas is. It's giant. It's a huge state in size. And there is a lot of beautiful areas there. And I think it's just what you take from it.
Yeah. That might have been a part of your early songwriting to make it backwards in our discussion, or maybe. Yes.
Yeah, sure, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was in California for almost a decade and really felt much more inspired with the beauty there in Southern California than to say with Texas per se. But it's hard to say at this point with as much experience as I have now, being, you know, in this industry since I was a teenager. I'm 40 now, that I feel like I could almost be anywhere and still do my job, but it is important, I think, to be somewhere that inspires you. I think that drives the work a lot more.
Okay. I know the band was featured in quite a handful of movies, and you had your company too.
We tried to start something, just got so busy with the band that it never came to fruition the way that I wanted it to. But I'm hoping sometime in the next decade that I'll start working more in the film world outside of composing. I mean, I'd love to do more composing in it, but also doing some writing as well. Yeah.
Okay. So what does the future hold for you after this tour?
So we have a full, we do Asia and Australia right after this. And then we have a full US tour. And then after that, kind of next year, I'll be focusing on finishing up like 2 new projects that I'm doing musically.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully getting some stuff together for potential writing for a TV show. Nothing that I'm ready to talk about yet, but there's something in the works, and fingers crossed that it comes together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, after all these years, do you know at last what will destroy you?
No, I still haven't figured it out.
Me, I know.
Yeah?
But I can't say it on air, but I know very well what will destroy me.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably more touring. The older I get, the harder it is, but I still love doing it. And I think I still have another good 10 years left in me before I'm like, I can't do it anymore.
Okay.
So this is a big test, being out for 2 months straight to see how my body can handle it. And as far as like what it can fully destroy me, maybe 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movie. I made that every time. The greatest film ever made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for your time and your kindness. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
See you on stage.
Right, awesome.
106 on air.